Good morning. I'd like to bring to order the June 16th, 2021 Planning Advisory Commission meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. For those of you in the audience, please silence or turn off your cell phones. We may have members of the public calling in with questions or comments. For those of you that are watching electronically, the number to call in is 706-225-3937, and it should be scrolling on your screen. Want to remind those in the audience and those watching that this is the first hearing of any rezoning, text change, or special exception requests brought before us today. We'll first hear a reading of the staff report for the case by planning staff and ask the applicant to give a brief overview of the request. Then we'll give the opportunity for anyone in the audience to speak for or against that request or to inquire about it. And the commissioners will have the opportunity to question planning staff, the applicants, and any other speakers. Once a motion is made and seconded by the commission, a vote will take place and we'll give a recommendation. The case will go back to the planning department for its independent recommendation. If a favorable recommendation is given, then the case is forwarded to the city council with the two independent recommendations. If the planning department makes a recommendation for denial, the applicant will have 10 days from the receipt of a letter stating the denial to notify the clerk of council that they request to place the item on the city council's agenda. And once the item goes on the council's agenda, the council will hold a public meeting called the first reading. The council will consider the case and review the PAC and planning department recommendations and hear discussion. It will make a final decision at a second public meeting called the second reading. Our first agenda item today is to approve the minutes of the June 2nd meeting. Does anybody have any comments or corrections for the minutes? Okay, then let's consider those approved. And that brings us to our first case today. Mr. Renfro, can you please read the staff report for case REZN 05211003?
Yes, sir. The general land use is inconsistent for planning area E. The current land use designation is single-family residential. The future land use is single-family residential. It is compatible with existing land uses.
What's the address on this one?
Oh, excuse me. This is
Martha's Loop.
the request to rezone 0.53 acres of land located at 2458. Martha's Loop, current zoning is SFR 4, single family residential 4, proposed is RMF 2, residential multifamily 2. The proposed use is multifamily duplex. Bobby Matthews is the applicant. The property is located in Council District 1 Barnes.
And one more interruption, sorry. There were some discrepancies in the staff report and the other documentation. The address is, there are two plots. It's 2458 and 2464.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I'll proceed reading the staff report. Environmental impacts. The property does not lie within the floodway and floodplain area. The developer will need an approved drainage plan prior to an issuance of a site development permit. If a permit is required, property is served by all city services. Average annual daily trips will increase by 38 trips. If used for residential use, the level of service will remain at a category C. This site shall meet the codes and regulations of CCG for residential usage. There'll be no school impact. The site shall include a category B buffer along all property lines bordered by the SFR2 zoning district. The three options under category B are 10 feet with a certain amount of canopy trees, understory trees, shrubs, ornamental grasses per 100 linear feet, 10 feet with a certain amount of shrubs, ornamental grasses per 100 linear feet, and a wood fence or masonry wall, 20 feet undisturbed natural buffer. No Fort Bend recommendation, no DRI recommendation. The surrounding zoning to the north is SFR2, to the south is SFR2, to the east is SFR2, and to the west is RMF2. 25 property owners within 300 feet of the subject properties were notified of the rezoning request. The planning department received no calls and or emails regarding this rezoning. And then there's no additional information.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the commissioners for planning staff? Okay. Mr. Renfro, can you give Ms. Thomas a copy of the agenda?
Sure.
Thanks. Okay. Will the applicant please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and give us an overview of your request?
Yes, sir. Y'all had the leaders on?
You can take the mask down.
Good morning. How y'all doing? My name is Bobby Matthews. My address is 1308 Pagoda Drive, Columbus, Georgia, 31907. And what was the other question that you asked me, sir?
Basically, just explain your request and what you plan to do with the site. My son, we was trying to cater to Columbus State. We was trying to beautify the area. We understand it's just trees and bushes there. We think it'll look a lot better. And my son is alumni of Columbus State, and he kind of came with me with the idea of saying for the students to have a place to stay, a nice area to stay in. So that's basically what we're basing it on. Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions of the applicant?
How many units do you plan to build or construct there?
It'd be a total of two units.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak in favor of this request? Don't see anybody. Anyone would like to speak against this request? Okay. Do we have a motion?
When it comes to REZN 05-21-1003 for rezoning the property located at, let me pull the address up, 2458 Martha's Loop, I recommend that we approve the rezoning for consistent land use with some of the properties nearby.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. All right. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. All right. So this is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Our next case is a special exception request. Mr. Renfro, can you read the staff report?
Yes, sir. This is for EXCP 05-21-1002, a request for special exception use at 3072 Victory Drive. Current zoning is general commercial. The proposed use is auto truck sales, new and used, greater than half an acre, less than 2 acres. Earl Adams is the applicant. The property is located in Council District 7, Woodson. And then the staff report is Victory Drive is an arterial road. It will provide adequate free flow movement. This will be an accessory use to the property. Traffic and pedestrian safety is or will access into and out of the property be adequate to provide for traffic and pedestrian safety and the anticipated volume of the traffic and access by emergency vehicles. Access into and out of the property in question will provide for adequate traffic and pedestrian safety and emergency access. Services such as water utilities, police, and fire protections are adequate for this site. The property is surrounded by other general commercial uses. No noise, light, flare, and odor should be limited due to the nature of the equipment of the building. The hours of operation for this use will not have an adverse impact on the neighboring properties in this area. The structure's height, size, and location should match the use found in other general commercial properties. Council District 7, 25 property owners within 300 feet of the property have been notified by mail or of the proposed special exception use. The planning department received no calls and or emails regarding this rezoning. There are a couple of things to note about this. This property used to be a car lot. It was grandfathered in because it is a smaller piece of property. We require you to have at least 2 acres now to have a car lot. The business license on the prior owner went vacant and expired after 6 months. They have to come back to get a special exception to be allowed to have a car dealership, which is already there, which was already there. And that should be it.
Thank you. Commissioners, are there any questions for staff? Okay, I'd like to ask the applicant to come up. Please state your name and address for the record and explain your request.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Earl Adams. My address is 1126 Richardson Road. And what is,
Sorry?
what was your question?
Just explain your request to us.
Oh, I'm requesting to make the car lot here a used car lot because I feel that Columbus really need a more honest and fair dealerships because in my past, dealing with some of the used car dealerships, they seem to be too much of a ripoff, and I want to make a better operation to serve our people here in the community.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions for the applicant?
I have a couple. Mr. Adams, right?
Yes,
Do you plan on doing any beautification or, you know, are you using the existing building that's there now?
yes, ma'am.
And any new landscaping or anything like that in your plan?
None other than painting.
Okay. And you'll use the existing gates that are there now?
That's correct.
How many cars do you anticipate on the lot? I'm just curious.
Anywhere from 10 to 15.
Okay. Okay, that was just, I was curious. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Other questions? Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak in favor of or against this request? Certainly don't see anybody. All right. Do we have a motion?
I make a, excuse me, I make a motion to approve case EXCP 05211002, special exception use request to allow auto truck sales new and used in excess of 1/2 acre but less than 2 acres, located at 3072 Victory Drive. The proposed use is compatible with existing land use.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have several seconds. All right. All those in favor, please raise their right arms. And it's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, the motion is approved. We don't have any new business other than that to remind commissioners we do not have a meeting scheduled for July 7th, and our next meeting is for July 21st. Do we have any cases for July 21st yet?
Not at this moment. We have one that's working on it, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Okay, but we've got time for that. Any other new business? All right, and as we have no old business, then I declare this meeting adjourned.